guys, this is episode 1 of a podcast that I wanted to do. Right now I just have the camera taped over, so you can't see the weird facial expressions and hand gestures that I make. In the future, of course, I'll have a nice little setup where there's something there in exchange of just a black screen, but typically when you listen to a podcast, it's when you're doing something else anyway, and you have it playing in the background, so this shouldn't really be a problem for now. But this series was kind of inspired because I myself am a writer, and I love getting feedback from people. So just the background story of this is I run a suicide awareness page, and people send me in things all the time, stories that they like or poems. But about 4 days ago, I've been without power for 4 days because of Hurricane Matthew. But 4 days ago, I received a message on my suicide awareness page, and it contained a link to it's called An Open Letter to Anyone Considering Suicide. And the person who sent me it was also the author of said letter, I guess. So I thought it would be a great idea to read it to you guys, so you can still get the information from it while doing whatever you want, like on Facebook or whatever you do while you listen to podcasts. And I will link this in the description below because, one, my pronunciation is not flawless, and just, I don't know, if you guys want to read it or send it to people, or just because I want to source the people who have written these things. And so this episode is, of course, this letter. In future episodes, it might be poems that I've written or other people have written. And I thought it was really a good idea because not everyone has time to sit down and read something. And just to give them feedback. Because like I said, as a writer, I know how crucial it is to get feedback from other people. And also inspiration and just sharing ideas for their work. So, yeah. I also have somebody messaging me right now on my suicide awareness page. It's not an emergency, it's just a casual, just keeping them company. So if I do pause momentarily throughout this, it is because I'm speaking to them as well. So, and they know I'm doing this video, it's not that I'm blowing them off. So this is by Lauren Garrett. Hopefully I pronounced that right. An Open Letter to Anyone Considering Suicide. There is always a healthier answer, and I believe that your life will get better. Dear friend, is life getting you down? Everything seems a bit overwhelming? Yeah, I understand. But suicide isn't the answer. How can you understand? I feel so lonely, depressed, and hopeless. Everything is just bad, and there is no better answers for me, you're thinking. Maybe you're right. But maybe I don't need to understand your exact position for me to know definitely that suicide is not the right answer for you, because it is never the right answer for anyone. I lost a friend to feelings just like yours, and I know that he made the wrong choice. Please, please pick life now while you can. So I'm going to stop right here and say that one of my favorite quotes is, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. No matter how bad life seems, it will eventually get better. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, background noise is unavoidable. I do have a 3-year-old sister and a young brother and a dog and a mom who likes to play her music really loud in the living room because that is her office. So, oh, also our neighbors have dogs, and we live on a very busy street, so yeah, noise is inevitable. So, it was exactly 2 years ago from this past Wednesday, May 11th. I was preparing to graduate from middle school. Wow, you're in high school? Sorry, I'm sorry. This is my first time reading this, by the way, so it really, you guys get the feel of, you know, me reading it and stuff. I was preparing to graduate from middle school and move on to high school, a chapter of my life that was both terrifying and exhilarating. We were presenting our school play, Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream, that day for the rest of the school. I was stage managing. A good friend of mine was technical directing, and the two of us had worked together to put on this show. Yes, my little sister's in my brother's room right now, so you'll probably hear her. I call him a good friend, but that is simplifying our relationship incredibly. In truth, he was both one of my best friends and my worst enemies. We had dated for over a year and had broken up after we both concluded that we were simply too immature to be together at the time. And, ironically, a mature decision that resulted in us usually being good friends. However, when we fought, friends described it as World War III and avoided being in our trajectories. This day, during the shows, we clashed in what might have been World War III and IV put together. I left school that day angry and vowing never to speak to him again. Gosh, first of all, if she's in high school. Her writing is amazing. When I woke up the next morning, everything felt off. I'd forgotten our fight, and I had a funny story that I'd prepared to tell him when he slid into the seat next to me at lunch. I sat there at our table in the far corner of the cafeteria, talking to my other girlfriends about some juicy gossip, and watching for him out of my peripheral vision, forming an apology in my mind. But the person that approached was a mutual friend, a bubbly girl whom everybody adored. You know the type. And she sat down in his seat. "Do you know if he's coming today?" she asked, her eyes widening a bit as they looked into mine. "Someone told me that something happened." I didn't know what she was talking about, but suddenly my body was filled with lead. I didn't want to know what happened. Everything would be okay. She didn't know what she was talking about. She didn't know him. Maybe he wasn't there, but surely he would be back tomorrow, and we would make up and have more speed-solving competitions with our Rubik's Cubes. That was what always happened. When someone else came up to me to ask, though, I decided that I had to know. I slipped into the bathroom and dialed my father's cell. My heart and the dial tone were all that I could hear, competing for loudness and shaking me to the core. When he answered, I asked if everything was okay. There was a long pause before he breathed out. "I've heard some rumors." I demanded to know what they were, tears pouring unnoticed down my face. My brain and my intuition spoke the words to me at the same time before my father did. "I have heard that he was life-flighted to the hospital last night." The walls closed in on me. He'd always been so happy with a smile that would sky melt, and spirits would give the world wings. And a spirit that would give the world wings. His laugh inspired happiness, and he had always been such a real person. He loved video games and his family, and he wanted to move to Michigan as a programmer when he was older. He had to be okay. He just had to. But he wasn't. Actually, a few days later, he passed away. He gave us no reason why he did it. Friend, I tell you this story for several reasons. First, the most important, is so that you know that you are not alone. Many, many people every day contemplate hurting themselves, but that does not mean that it is okay. There is help for you. The second, and equally important, is that I would like to impress upon you, is that there are people who care about you. At my friend's funeral, the church was completely full, and many of his friends, family, and former mentors rose to speak about him. His death had affected us. Has affected everyone that he ever knew, and even now, and just remembering, and even now, over 2 years after he died, friends will still say things like, "Oh, he would love this," or "Wow, I wish he could be here to do this too." I'm kind of tearing up because I'm remembering my best friend from middle school who passed away. It's been 8 years, and it's really just thinking, it'll be 8 years on the 21st of October, so it's just so surreal thinking about it. Like, everything that we went through, everything that I've went through since her passing. Like, the first thought I have is, I've survived 8 years without her. Because, like, when she passed away, it was one of the worst things ever. You know, I was 13 years old, my best friend, you know, just all the stuff with her. Like, I think I'll do a separate video talking about her, but I got really suicidal and really depressed, and I dealt with that for quite a few years, and it was just, if I could talk to 13-year-old me, I don't think I would believe myself about being alive. I don't know if that makes any sense, but 13-year-old me did not want to live. 13-year-old me attempted suicide quite a few times, and I'm thankful for each and every failed attempt throughout the years, because I've helped a lot of people since then. I feel like that's my reason for being here. But it still just shocks me to realize, like, I am still here, and she's not. And I think for the longest time I, like, hated myself for not, you know, for being here and her not being here. Is she to be happy that I'm here or upset that I'm here? But 8 years, and I remember her funeral. It was just so unreal. There were so many people there. I mean, I say this even though I didn't go. I was actually in the mental hospital for attempting suicide. But one of our best friends went for me, and he told me pretty much, there were so many people there. We still don't know why she did it, you know? Like, she was one of the most popular girls. She was always happy, and we still just don't know. So, I get it. I completely get it. I get so mad at those people sometimes. I've actually went to a few, like, suicide survivor meetups where we met people who have survived suicide, and being a survivor to me means two things. Either, like myself, surviving an attempted suicide, and then there are always survivors to every suicide, and survivors are those who have lost someone, because you carry on even though they're gone. And I think the piece that I always tell people that are considering suicide is that they have to think of all the people that they love, and realize that that pain that they have might be gone for them if they leave, but it will be magnified in the people that they leave behind. Like, it's been 8 years, and it still feels like it was yesterday. I still have nightmares about it. I still wake up crying. I still get really, really, really upset when people talk about her, or we pass her house, or one of our songs come on the radio. She was my best friend. And I think it's really important for people who are depressed or suicidal to see and hear these stories and realize that that's going to be their friends and family. And I think the reason why a lot of them do commit suicide is because they don't realize just how many people love them and care about them. And it's really, really important that they know that people tell them, you know, even if you're having a bad time, to reach out, because surely there's someone out there. Like, I am one of those people. Like, I don't know the people who reach out to me on suicide awareness, but I make it known to them. Like, I don't know you personally, but I love you. I'm here for you. Because I know this pain. I know the pain that they have gone through, that they are going through, that their family and friends will go through if they decide to leave. I'll try to express that to them in a way that they'll understand and be able to see. And I highly encourage them to seek help. I highly encourage people who have lost people to suicide to also seek help, because it is even more damaging to them. Like, I'm proof of that. Like, a lot of people just assume that suicide victims or survivors or people who failed or committed suicide, but the real survivors are those who are left behind to deal with the pain every day. And I feel like those people need help too. You know. But it was really bad. The first suicide meetup, I don't really know what they're called. I just call them suicide meetups. I think that sounds terrible, but the first one I ever attended was in probably the worst timing ever. Was October 2012. October's always a really bad month for me because it was August. Was it? I think it was August. October and August are really bad months for me, but my best friend, Ashley, passed away. I was in 6th grade. I was 13 at the time. She passed away on October 18th. And then one of my other best friends committed suicide on October 21st. 2012. Before his death, it was in August that I attended my first suicide prevention meetup, and he went with me. But I listened to all these stories, people talking about their family and friends, and they pretty much always had the same story, that these people didn't feel loved, that nobody cared about them. But at the funeral, there were so many people that showed up, and for the longest time, I would get so pissed off, even more so when James passed away, because James really only had me and his brother, you know, and when he passed away, suddenly all these people cared about him, all these people who bullied him and treated him bad in high school suddenly wanted to come and apologize and say they were sorry. And I guess, like, I have this little seed of hatred in me that says that these people aren't doing it out of sympathy, that they're doing it because they know they're bad, that they know that they pushed someone to the edge and that they jumped, and that they have to live with that for the rest of their life, that they encourage someone to commit suicide, and they don't feel sorry for that. It's kind of like when you do something wrong and you apologize when you get caught. You're not sorry for doing it. You're sorry because you got caught for doing it. I really felt like all the people that were there were just there because they wanted to feel like they were redeemed for the things that they did to him. But I actually left. There was one girl talking about her brother, and she was talking about the funeral, and then I started talking about my sister. I call her my sister because we were so close. And I had to get up and walk out because I started crying, and then I was trying to hold my breath so I wouldn't cry, and then I started choking, and then I just had to walk out because it was bad. And it was not. I haven't been back to one in a while, especially since James passed away, because I had so many years of therapy, and I don't think I ever once I had therapy because of me being suicidal and self-harming and stuff, but I never once mentioned my sister until about 3 or 4 years into therapy, and it was only with a brief, a brief mention of it. I never really went into depth, but I know it pretty much. Go out, sissy.
Open the bag.
Sorry, I had to pause the video. My brother and sister decided it would be a good idea to come in here. Anyway, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent about my sister. We'll finish our open letter. Finally, please recognize suicide as a long-term solution to a short-term problem. That's exactly what I said. While I cannot claim to know everything that has happened in his life, I know that my friend had a very loving relationship with his family. He was smart, had a good number of friends, and had dreams in life. He was excited for high school and enjoyed sledding. His reaction was to events on that day only. If he had chosen to just wait out everything, he would have seen that the problems that he had would eventually have gone away. Please do not view killing or hurting yourself as a good way to resolve your issues. The truth is, life is full of beautiful things. If you ever seriously consider any self-harm activities, think about the little things that always bring smiles to your face. Maybe it is the smell of coffee in the morning after a long night of good sleep. Maybe it is the feeling of finally leaving work or school on Friday afternoon. Maybe it is stepping into the steaming shower, smelling chocolate chip cookies in your oven, or feeling your pet snuggle into you. Maybe it is watching the world bustle through the mall around the holidays, or the first cold splash as you dive into a pool. Or maybe it is nothing more complex than just looking out the window and watching the raindrops race each other to the bottom. Remember these little things and hold them in your heart, because you will not be able to enjoy these things if you are dead. And if the excitement of living is not enough, please call the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Please remember that you are loved, and life will always get better. It sometimes surprises you with bad, but it can always turn around and surprise you with good. You are a beautiful, strong person, and I am proud of you for surviving until now. You are a survivor. Do not let anything win. With extreme heartfelt love, someone who cares about you. I want to thank you, oh my god. Lauren, this was a roller coaster. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful letter. I loved it. It brought back a lot of memories and I think some very personal talk, which I think this series will inspire a lot of. I had a few tears because I always cry when I think of her. I don't think I could make it through a full-length video talking about her, but I would attempt if you guys wanted, but it's funny I say it's been almost 8 years and it still feels like yesterday, you know. What even's going on in there, guys? Come on. Sorry, my siblings are being loud. So I'm gonna go and upload this onto the YouTubes and then send it to the lovely author of her open letter, and hopefully she responds and it inspires you guys to maybe open up about your stories and share them with others as well. They are being really, really loud. I have to keep pausing every 5 seconds because they will not be quiet. But anyway, I'm gonna go, and hopefully this inspired you guys to share your story and seek help if you need it, even if you are not suicidal, even if you have lost someone to suicide. I highly encourage you to reach out to those. There's resources out there for you as well. There are groups that you can go to, and people who have also lost others. So you are not alone. And I actually have to start my my series back up where I posted something specific for survivors every Thursday on my suicide awareness page. So I gotta start doing that again. But thank you. I'm sorry for the interruptions. That's just life here. I'll probably have to start recording these early in the morning when everyone is sleeping or at school or whatever. And maybe that'll cut down on some of the distractions. And if you have any stories, letters, poems, or whatever that you would like me to read and give you my input on to help inspire you further or educate people or whatever you find from these videos, I hope it helps you in some way. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.